tribe and how you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I hope you like this video. This is, I know it's been a long time, but this is a retro review. We have The Wire season 2 episode 6. So this episode is really important to the trajectory of the season, so we're going to get into that in a few minutes. This episode starts off with Omar testifying. He is finally testifying in the case from season 1 where he said that he saw what's the face Q, that ain't his name on the Y, but y'all know him as Q from Moesha, shoot Gantz, the witness, going all the way back to the first episode of season 1, right? And Omar is being Omar. He is being his wonderful, charming self. Remember, the DA said at least get him a tie. And remember, they went shopping for a suit and they couldn't find nothing. Well, Omar shows up with a suit, honey. I mean, with a tie, and he puts the tie around his neck and sort of does the, I forget the type of knot it is, honey. But suffice to say, it's not on correctly. And he's being, the funny thing is, if I'm on the jury, I'm listening to, I'm believing everything he said. You know why? Because he was honest. When the woman said, "What is your occupation?" he was like, "What's my occupation? I rob drug dealers." See, that alone, everything after that, I'd have been like, oh, well, he got to be telling the damn truth, because he done sat up here and admitted he was a criminal. Like, you know, he talked about, I mean, now we all pretty much believe that Omar ain't telling the truth. But I'm saying, as a juror, I would have automatically believed him. And he goes on to testify, and it was this great moment in his testimony where the lawyer for, you know, Avon's lawyer was like, so basically you're just a leech off of society. You know, you robbing drug dealers and you're this and you're that. And he was like, me and you are the same. He said the only difference is you do what you do with a briefcase, I do what I do with a shotgun. And the lawyer gonna look at the judge like, you gonna help me out here? And the judge look back at him like, you open that door up, bro. And so, needless to say, there was a conviction. And at the end of his testimony, McNulty gonna, because there was a scene where McNulty and Stringer Bell had a moment, and Stringer Bell was like, you know, like, word on the street is that he lying, and word on the street is that, you know, that so-and-so was really across town when all this went down, and it really wasn't him that did the killing. And McNulty was like, okay, well, it ain't what you know, it's what you can prove. Like, that's what the streets say, but he up there testifying to something else. So when it was over, McNulty gonna go up to he gonna go up to Omar and ask Omar and be like, so, I mean, is it true? Did you really see it? Omar gonna look at McNulty and say, are you really asking me that? Like, first of all, you got your convictions, so whether I'm telling the truth or lying, at this point, it don't even matter. Second of all, you know what's up. Like, you know I was lying. You knew I was lying last season when you knew I was lying. Anyway, so while that's going on down to the courthouse, over at the Task Force Central, they're sitting down to go over what they really know and what they really have. And basically what they figure out is they really don't have a paper trail on Frank. Like, from all intents and purposes, he doesn't live above his means. He doesn't do anything flashy. He doesn't drive a flashy car or do anything that would put off any alarm bells that he's doing anything hokey pokey down at the union office. The only thing that does seem to be a problem is his membership has drastically dropped in the last 10 years, and there's really no accounting for the fact that that the union is still doing as well as it's doing. Because it's like, wait a minute now, he's not living real flashy or whatever, but the fact that, I think they said he was down to like maybe 20 members from 300 members, like, that's a lot of dues that you don't have anymore. That's a whole lot that's going on. And so, they also hadn't really picked up a whole lot on the hand-to-hands, because again, remember, they think this is going to be a drug case, that maybe that the union's making money off of running drugs, and that why they thought they would be dumb enough to sell the drugs down the street from the union office, even if they were selling drugs, I don't know. But so they decided that they were going to look into whether they were going to They were going to stay on the hand-to-hands, so Carver and Hulk and Hurt were going to stay on the hand-to-hands. They were also going to explore the female situation because, again, let's not forget, they still got them 14 dead bodies that they found in the and they know that's connected to prostitution. So they got Kima and Pastrami Sandwich going to go check out the script clubs, honey, looking at that angle. Well, looking for the female angle. And then, the prostitute angle. And then they have, my boy, Freeman. Woo, thank you. Freeman and Bunk and the female detective, officer from the, y'all know what I'm saying. From the, port. Shit, I don't know why I can't think of it. Anyway, they're going to stay on the computer trail because remember, they know that there's some hokey dokey going on with the computer with, keeping up with what cargo is on the ship when it comes off the ship and how some cargo disappears. So they hitting it from all angles. They're hitting it from all angles, right? They're on it. So they're on it. Now, they were able to get when they got the Union Financial dues. Of course, your boy got a little nervous. He was like, you subpoenaing records? Because he already know he is walking a real thin line. Like, he know that his boss told him, get in, make it look good, get out. And he know that's what they told him to do with the Avar case. And he went left with it. And it cost him his rank and shit as far as he was in the basement. And he knows that he's fast-tracked this time. And he got a little bit of leverage this time. But he know he can't play too many games. And Freeman was like, don't worry. Union records are, public, that's freedom of information under such and such lawsuit. Don't worry about it. We good. We ain't running no records without your knowledge. Okay. So while that's going on, now we have Frankie done went to go visit the Greek's representative. And he's like, listen, so what's up with these chemicals we trying to get? Are you going to be able to get them or not? And he was like, listen, I can get you as many chemicals as you want. However, we got a little situation that we need your help with before we can get this whole thing going. And he was like, well, what's up? He said, well, my cousin Zig done got himself in a little situation down with some drug dealers. And, they done burnt up his car. And, he owed them $2,700. And, but now they done burnt up his car. And now they trying to double it and saying instead of the $2,700, now we owe them, 54. Is that right? My math right? Yeah, $5,400. And so dude was like, okay, so we'll go down there, we'll take care of it. We'll kill him. He was like, I don't need you to kill him. Because eventually they're gonna know it's me. Know it's us. Ziggy gonna have, a target on him, and at some point in time, they're going to come back and they're going to collect. And Zig is going to end up dead. That's not what I want. He was like, okay, well, we'll go talk to him and we'll, get the debtor eliminated. He was like, that's not what I want either. Ziggy fucked up the package. He owes them $2,700. But all I want is, I just want them to take the $2,700, call this shit even so we can keep it moving. Because at the end of the day, he going to pay what he owed. He fucked up the package. He gonna pay what he owe. We just don't want to play this game of every time I take him the money, now we owe double, we owe more. So he was like, okay, so if we, take care of this situation for you, we're good. He was like, yeah, we're good. So they go down and go talk to Method Man and his crew. And, Frankie is sitting in the car while he's watching this transaction. So he sees the guns come out and he sees them talk, and then they come back to the car. He was like, the situation is going to be handled. He was like, yeah, I see how you handled it. He was like, listen, him, I don't know him, but his boss, I know. Well, guess who his boss is? His boss is Prop Joe. So they go see Prop Joe. Now, Prop Joe and the Greek do business, do big business. And there's a lot of respect there. So now they've decided that not only does Zig not owe, that they don't want to double the money. Now they're trying to say, well, the Blue Book value on his Camaro was $5,000. So at this point, not only do we not owe you the $2,700, now you owe Zig like $2,000. I'm not doing the math. Like $2,000 for his car minus the $2,700 that we owe, right? Prop Joe was like, so wait a minute. What you saying to me is, not only do you want me to erase the debt that your cousin owed me, you want me to pay for his car? And he was like, yeah. Prop Joe was like, yo, these people really mean that much to you? Like, they your people like that? And dude was like, he was like, all right. So he peeled off the money and he gave it to Frankie. And he was like, yo, Cheese ain't gonna be happy about this because he gonna have to pay me back. Like, he ain't gonna be happy about this at all. And, Frankie was like, well, I appreciate doing business with you. He was like, let me explain something to you. If you weren't connected to them, bruh, we don't have this conversation. Please know that. So then we had this scene with McNulty. McNulty is still trying to get his wife back, honey. I feel so bad for McNulty because he ain't got a snowball's chance in hell. Okay, but he asked her out. He goes to visit her job, and he's acting a fool at her job. And because she's a real estate agent, and she's with clients, and he's behind her messing with the mannequin and trying to make her laugh and stuff like that. So when her clients leave, he's talking to her and he's like, come on, let me take you out to dinner. Like, listen, I signed your paperwork. I did what you wanted me to do. Let's start over. Let's start fresh. Give me another chance. And so she agrees to go to dinner with him. She was like, you're going to pay for the babysitter, but she agrees to go to dinner with him. So they end up going out to dinner and they're having small talk, and McNulty is trying to show her that he's changed and he's this better man and he's, he's doing right and everything. And he was like, listen, like, come on, let's try to give me another chance. Let's make a go of it. She was like, how about I give you a farewell fuck? And I think he thought she was playing. Because next thing you know, we see them having sex. And the next morning, he's sitting downstairs drinking coffee, reading the newspaper in her robe, like everything is everything. He was like, yo, I think we should take the kids out, to the park today. And she was like, no, I gotta go pick the kids up from the babysitter, and then we got some things to do. He was like, oh, okay, cool. Well, I'll meet you guys back here, and we can go by my apartment and pick up some things. And she was like, no, like, I don't want the boys to see you here. I don't want them to know you're here because I don't want them to be confused. Because, like I said, that last night, that was my farewell to you, boo. That was not an invitation for us to get back together. So poor McNulty, he really thought he was about to do something, and it ain't what he thought it was gonna be. Now here's something very interesting. Y'all know I like to throw my little anecdotes and my little tidbits when I do these little reviews, right? So we had this moment where we see Stringer Bell meet up with a dude who's from DC. I don't think he's from DC. I think right now he's doing business in DC. And they have this whole conversation. Stringer Bell just hired him to do a job. We're going to get back to what the job is in a minute. But Stringer Bell hired him to do a job. But they have this whole banter about go-go music. We have this whole banter about, Baltimore Bamas, DC Bamas, whatever. And I keep telling y'all, DC and Baltimore don't roll with each other like that. Like, we're about 50 miles. It's about a 50-minute drive to go from one to the other. But I'm telling you, we don't rock with each other like that. And then, Stringer Bell talking about something, I can't stand that go-go shit. And dude was like, you ain't heard it live yet. He was like, I got this, he said, it's this club in Oxon Hill that I can take you to. It'll change your life. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, I know Oxon Hill. I probably know the club he's talking about. Oh my gosh, right? It was just a nostalgic moment for me. But he hired old dude to do a job. And he was like, yo, make sure this don't trace back to me. He was like, listen, for you to be paying this much money and me going this far out of Baltimore, I know that this is something that you absolutely don't want traced back to you. And he was like, yeah. And we're going to get to that job in a minute. But just remember, Stringer Bell set it up. Don't want to trace back to him. So Kima goes to visit. Y'all remember the scripper from last season that helped Freeman out, the one with the glasses that used to date D? Well, she's doing really well, honey. She looks really good. Got herself a cute little flip bob. Don't have her glasses on, honey. Got her little contacts working, and she is in nursing school. But she still has her ear to the street. So Freeman sent Kima to go talk to her to find out had she heard anything about a bunch of Russian, dancers, prostitutes, anything from her friends, anything hit the wire. So she told her, she said, yeah, she said, actually, a friend of mine works at a club, and she did tell me something about a bunch of, dancers coming through there. And so Kima was like, well, would she talk to me? She was like, she'll talk to you if I ask her to talk to you. So Kima, like I said, her and Pastrami Sandwich, they gonna head down to Old Girl's Club to go talk to her. Now, Kima's girlfriend ain't having it. Okay, Kima's girlfriend is not here for the shenanigans. She said, listen, you already done already got over on me. Because you went back to work after you promised me when you was in the hospital going through rehab and going through all that other stuff, getting yourself together after the bullet wound. You promised me you was gonna just go to school and you was gonna get an inside job office, and now you back on the street. And not only are you back on the street, you are going down to the script clubs. And Kima was like, are we really having this conversation right now? Like, good and damn well I'm not going down there to really look at no women. Like, you know that's not what this is about, right? And she was like, whatever, I'm in my feelings and I'm gonna be in my feelings. So honey, Kima got up and got ready to head out, and old girl got up with Kima. And Kima was like, where you going? She was like, I'm going with you. Maybe I'll find me some pussy I want to see. I said, oh, okay, Kima girlfriend heading down to the script club with Kima, baby. It was hilarious. So now while all of this is going down, Frank is meeting with the union. They're having a union meeting, and Frank is telling them, hey, we've been lobbying, down to Annapolis to try to get some port back, to try to get some of the area back that we've lost. Hopefully we're going to have some more jobs coming back. And they giving him a little pushback, wanting to know where all this money coming from that he's spending on Consumer Reports and all this other stuff. And he said they got help from the national office, and they've been getting donations from some friends and family, that kind of thing. And then basically they're like, so if all that happens, what happens if that doesn't come through? What happens if what's his name, Korncheck, the police officer? What happens if he ends up screwing us? And they just put up condominiums at the area that used to be our docks. What's going to happen then? And he was like, listen, it is a chance that we're going to have to take. But, now's the time to get on the phone with your congressmen, with your state representatives, with whoever you can get on the phone with, and lobby them and let them know, listen, their job's on the line. Like, the union is dying, the docks are dying, we need your help. And when it was over with, one of the union members came up to him after the meeting and was like, oh, so we got help from the national office on this one? Watch your back. Watch your back, Frank. Watch your back. Because they basically letting them know, we don't believe nothing what you're saying. Okay? Now, while this is going on, Freeman, Bunk, and old girl are getting closer. They're actually getting closer to being able to put the pieces together. Being able to put the pieces together to figure out what's going on with these missing containers. They're looking at the, computers, and they're actually starting to figure out. Y'all know Freeman can figure that shit out. And they're actually figuring out when they see stuff come on and stuff come off. And what they're realizing is, yes, Frank said that there's glitches in the system all the time, and a lot of times the stuff gets missing. But what they're realizing is that a lot of times the stuff goes off and it comes up missing, but it eventually shows back up. And they said those are the ones that are legit. But we're also noticing that things do come up missing and they never show back up. And it's always the same person working when that happens. And they call him Horseface, but he's Frank's right-hand man. And they've already grand juried him, and he ain't sweat. Y'all know, when they took the union guys down for the grand jury, they wiped their ass with that damn grand jury summons. Like, they didn't say nothing. And so, but they're getting one step closer. That's why I said this is an interesting arc in the season, because they're getting closer. They're seeing some patterns. They're seeing some things happening. So then, down to the script club, Kima and Pastrami Sandwich and the girlfriend, they're talking to old girl, and she's letting them know, listen, she said that she did notice, a couple of months back that they started having an influx of, Russian, dancers come through the club. She said they don't stay long. They come in, they come in for a couple of months and then they cycle out. And she said, and whoever their handlers are, do not let them out of their sight. They don't let them talk to nobody. They don't let them get too close to no customers. If they start seeing that any of them are starting to get regulars or starting to get too close to anybody, then they cycle them out and they take them to a club out of state, or further, not out of state, but somewhere else in Maryland. They take them to another club. And basically, like, letting them know, confirming what they know, that these women are here illegally. And they got handlers that don't let them go nowhere. She said they're not even barely allowed to go to the bathroom by themselves, right? So back up to the jail, we see D. And D has made a decision that he is ready to live, honey. He gonna stop using them drugs. He done went into his little stash space and he done got rid of all his drugs and he dumping them. Now I think part of it is he's ready to live, and I think part of it is that he's not sure what he can and can't use, because he knows that Avon set that hot shot up. And then there's a moment where he sees Avon in the hallway, and instead of walking towards Avon, he walks away from Avon, right? Now, Kima has this moment where she takes her girlfriend down to the docks. I guess that's her way of trying to let the girl know why this case is so important. She shows her one of the storage containers and talks about how the women were there without food, without this, without that, and they were left to basically suffocate and die. And oh, girl wasn't impressed. Okay, she was like, she didn't say nothing, but the look on her face was unimpressed. Okay, so sorry. Then we have this scene with D in the prison library, and I guess they're like in a reading group, and they're reading, I forgot the name of the book now, but D has this whole moment where he breaks it all the way down. Once again, I think this is just an effort to show us that he's really finding some other things that, he's trying to focus on while he's doing his time, and he's really focusing on his, trying to do some things to better himself, better his life, right? McNulty has finally given up on trying to identify the woman. Remember, he had that one floater. He had been trying to identify her because he was like, I know what happens to bodies that go unclaimed. But he finally has to go to the coroner, because the coroner is like, listen, I can only hold this body but for so long. So he finally has to go down to the coroner and let the coroner know, listen, I wasn't able to find any of her relatives or anything, and so she's just gonna have to go down as a Jane Doe. So she ends up becoming a cadaver, for the teaching hospital. That's what happens to unclaimed bodies, a lot of time. Then we have probably one of the most heartbreaking scenes of this episode, really this season. D and his mom, and she is trying to convince him to play ball. She's like, listen, Avon tells me that you are still giving him the cold shoulder, that you are still not, she was like, just do what they're telling you to do, and it'll take some time off of your sentence. Like, I want you home. I'm ready for you to come home. And he says, listen, you told me to be quiet and take my time, right? So that's what I'm doing. I'm being quiet and I'm taking my time. He said, I remember when I was a kid, and it was two brothers. They were twins, and they was bothering me. And I came running home, and I was banging on the door, and I was like, Mama, please let me in. Mama, please let me in. And you told me no. You told me that I needed to go and I needed to fight. And whether I win or lose, I needed to stand up for myself, and I needed to fight. And so I did. I went back out there and I got my ass kicked. But you were proud of me because I went and I fought. So I'm taking my ass whooping. So just leave me alone. Tell Avon, just leave me alone. Just let me be. Just let me be. And he gets up to walk away from his mom. And when he gets up to walk away from his mom, this dude is following him. And you're like, oh shit, okay. What's going on with this? Right? we're gonna come back to the dude following D. We're gonna come back to that. So Ziggy's down at the bar, drowning his sorrows, because of course he think that, he about to get killed. He done lost his car, all of that. Frankie comes through there, and under the table, he gives Frankie some money. He gives Ziggy some money. Ziggy was like, well, what's this? He was like, it's the money for your car. He was like, are we square? Like, we cool? We square? With the drug dealers? He was like, yeah, we good. And Ziggy is an asshole. Sees to buy a round for the bar, or for the, whatever, and then he sets $100 bill on fire. And his father sees him doing this, so his father, pulls him to the side, and they go walking. And he said, "What the hell do you have going on? Like, why are you, like, you in a bar full of working men that's barely making ends meet, and you burn $100 bills? Like, what the hell is wrong with you?" And they have this conversation, where Ziggy was like, "Listen, that, like," he was like, "Zig, I can't show any favoritism. That even though I'm the head of the union, I can't show no favoritism. Like, they're guys, it's seniority. And those guys, I got to put them ahead of you." And he was like, "Yeah, I get it, Dad. I get it." And he was like, but then he was like, "But I also, but I grew up with you. I grew up with you and around the union my whole life. Like, I know what the union looks like. I know what it looks like when y'all fight. I know what it looks like when y'all are at war." And he started talking about all the different situations growing up of this person getting beat up because somebody crossed the line, and this person getting, hurt because of this happened down at the docks, and this happened. And he's reminding his father, I guess, of like the good old days of what happened with dock work. I'm not quite sure where this conversation was supposed to go, but I'm going to put it in there because the thing about The Wire that I do know is that a lot of times things come back. So it was what it was. And then after a while, his dad was like, "So why are we, why are we here, having this conversation?" And they kind of both look at each other like, I don't know. And then they walk off. It was really weird. Anyway. So Frankie keeps his end of the bargain. He delivers the chemicals to, the Greek, or the Greek's representative. And dude was like, "Listen, instead of paying you in money, how about I pay you in drugs?" And of course, Zig is there, and Zig is like, "Yes, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. We could triple our money." And one thing I will say about this dude, he's not dumb. Well, Ziggy's an idiot, but Frankie's not dumb. He would have took the cash if Ziggy hadn't been standing there at all. He would have just took the cash straight up. So what he does say is, he says to dude, he said, "Listen, I'll take half in cash, I'll take half in drugs." Because I guess he figured if I can't sell the drugs, at the very least, I got some money out of the deal. And of course, Zig is telling him, let me handle it. I know what to do with the drugs." And I'm thinking, no, you don't. Did we not just go through this whole situation with you getting your car torched, and you no, you don't know what to do with the damn drugs. Like, and Frankie was like, "I got it, Ziggy. I got it." Now, I don't know if he's going to go back to Prop Joe or what, but I feel like he might, because, he see now who the big guy is. Like, he don't have to go through the street level. He can go straight to Prop Joe. And I feel like that's probably what he's going to do. But anyway, that's another conversation for another episode, child. So, last but not least, we see D in the library. And he's working, doing his thing, minding his business, putting books on the shelf and everything. And he ends up having to go into one of the back rooms because one of the books was damaged and he was fixing the book. So we see the dude that had followed him after he had the meeting with his mom, followed him into that back room. And he played it off at first like, "Oh, I was just trying to see if y'all had any, final call. I was looking for, And D was like, "Oh, well, you can't be back here. I'll bring some out. As soon as I can finish doing this, I'll bring some out there." Child, next thing you know, old dude pull out his belt, and he strangles D. Strangles D to death, kills D, makes it look like it was suicide. He puts the belt around his neck and puts him against the door and all that good stuff. It makes it look like suicide. So that's what Stringer had paid for early on in this episode. And that's why he was like, it cannot trace back to me, no way, shape, or form. Because this ain't come from Avon. This ain't come from the Avon organization. This came straight from Stringer Bell. So that will be very interesting to see how that plays out. Anyway, y'all, let me know what y'all think. Y'all know I'm sorry these reviews always last so long because The Wire just gives you so much. But let me know what y'all think. Drop it in those comments. Peace.